He says he's breaking up with me. He says I don't have time for him with this job. All I have is you, Mr. Snufflebum. I think I'm gonna need more cats. You don't wash your dirty dishes, you don't pay the internet on time, and you're eating all of my chicken. You're the worst flatmate ever. I can't live with you. You what? My legs are hurting, my back is aching, and I can't even fall asleep when I want to. What do you mean I look terrible? Oh, you thought this job is all about the glamour, the shopping, and the beautiful Instagram pictures? Well then let me tell you the cons of being an Emirates cabin crew. Hey guys, it's me Aura again and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be talking about the cons of working as a Emirates cabin crew member. You guys have this beautiful image in your head, thinking that this job is all glamorous, all amazing, all rainbows and ponies. Well, I'm here to burst your bubble. I'm just kidding. But I am here to give you a reality check and drop some hard truth on your ass. Can I see ass on camera? So hit that subscribe button and let's get started. It's raining, okay? It decided to rain. I don't control the weather. So it's gonna rain. Anywho, an obvious con or disadvantage of this cabin crew job is the health risks that comes with it. You're constantly exposed to germs, your immune system is down. Things like lack of sleep or bad eating habits that comes with the job just prolongs your recovery process from a sickness. When you're doing this job, even something as normal as a common cold takes way longer for your body to recover. Back problems are very common for cabin crew members because you're constantly lifting, pushing and pulling very heavy items around the aircraft. Leg problems because you're standing pretty much all day. Wrist problems, shoulder problems, ear problems. Ear problems are very common for the cabin crew job. Let's say you have a common cold. In a normal environment or if you're on ground, a common cold is really not a big issue. But when you're doing the cabin crew job and you get a cold and if your sinuses get blocked, that can lead to barotrauma, where you can do permanent damage to your ears. I myself have had barotrauma 3 times in my 6 years and I am just so glad that I never got any permanent damage to my ears. I've had instances where my eardrums were bleeding because it could not release the pressure. And it's very painful, guys. It's no joke. It is very painful. I once had to stand down from duty because it's so painful. I couldn't operate on landing. You can end up doing permanent damage and even losing your hearing. I do know people that have suffered permanent damage to their hearing while doing this job. So that's why a lot of the things that are very normal in our day-to-day lives become very different when you're working as a cabin crew member. Plus many other types of sicknesses. So yes, your health is very compromised when you're doing this job. When you come to this job, you can kiss goodbye to all the special occasions or many of the special occasions in life. You can kiss goodbye to the birthdays, the anniversaries, the weddings, the Valentine's Days or the Christmases, the New Year's. No, you're pretty much gonna miss a lot of them. Cabin crew are obviously working in the holiday season, which means that you will be sacrificing your holiday time with your family so that you're making sure that somebody else can get to spend their holiday with their family. And yeah, it's a bit sad, but it's true. A huge issue is obviously Christmas and New Year holidays. It's very tough. It's very, very tough to get leave on that season. It's peak season. Everybody wants leave on that time, but you hardly get it. You might not get the exact leave slot that you asked for. There are a few occasions where cabin crew didn't even manage to get leave for their own wedding. So yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. It really does happen. Cabin crew who are parents with small children sometimes even miss their own children's birthdays or special school events. And sometimes your loved ones won't understand why you can't get to this event or get to this occasion on time, even though you had a notification months in advance. And sometimes it does lead to disappointment of the family members or your friends or your loved ones. You missed Christmas last year and now you're telling me that you can't be there for grandpa's 111th birthday? Unacceptable. So there's a lot of issues with regards to not getting the leave you want and missing out on special occasions, and in the long run it can be quite hard on yourself and your family, so you need to be willing to make those kind of sacrifices.
You know, when people think about cabin crew, they think, oh my god, you're so popular, you're so famous, you probably have a boyfriend in every layover. When the reality is that it's actually a very lonely job. For starters, you moved to a whole different country to do a job.
You left your family and friends behind and now you're in a strange country without anybody that you know or love. And now you're having to make new friends. At the peak of the company before COVID, the number of cabin crew was 21,000 or maybe 22,000. So can you imagine, you're almost never flying with the same person twice. So it's actually quite hard to make new friendships because you only have maybe one flight and the span of that flight to make a new friendship. And it has happened. Of course, I've made a lot of friends just by flying with them once. However, after that, maintaining those friendships in this job is quite difficult because everybody is working on a different shift and a different schedule.
It's very hard to find time to actually catch up with your friends. And Dubai is lonely because Dubai is full of very temporary people. People from all around the world come to Dubai, mostly just to stay there a couple of years, 2, 3, 4 years, save up some money and then go back home to do something else. So it's a very temporary place for people to be. You're making friends one day and the next day they're saying they want to return back to their home. I have seen many friends come and go, and after a certain amount of time, when yet another friend says, okay, it's time for me to return back to my home, I'm leaving, you end up being like, are you leaving me too? I had a batchmate, the sweetest Korean girl, and she left the job after just 1 year. And she told me it's because she felt so incredibly lonely doing the job and incredibly lonely in Dubai. She just could not bear the loneliness anymore and she quit and left. And in another instance, I was once flying with this British lad, and he told me that he used to come to Dubai almost every year with his family for vacation. You know you Brits love to holiday in Dubai.
So working for Emirates was his absolute dream, so that he gets a chance to actually live in his favorite holiday destination. But when he came for the job and moved to Dubai for the job, it was totally different from how it was when he used to vacation in Dubai. He said that he felt incredibly lonely and he started to miss his family, and he was at the process of resigning. So yeah, relationships are hard to maintain in Dubai. People think when you're a cabin crew, you have a boyfriend in every layover, when actually in reality, it's hard to find even one boyfriend. I'm not even joking, but people in Dubai will hesitate to date you when you tell them that you're Emirates cabin crew, just because they don't want to put up with your crazy work schedules. You might try to do a long distance relationship, but that's also really hard to maintain because of your schedules and your shifts and the way your work is. Again, the point that I told you about before comes into this one as well. And you know, if you have a girlfriend, boyfriend, husband or wife, they might end up asking, why can't you make some sacrifices? Why can't you just take some leave and come be with me? And you know, that takes a really big toll on your relationship. That's why when a lot of crew, when they want to get married, they actually resign from the job because it's so hard to maintain relationships while doing this job. You might be in the most glamorous, amazing city in the world, but then you walk into a restaurant and you ask a table for one and you sit down and you eat alone because everybody else is just too tired to come out with you. And it's happened to me a lot of times, and this is the not so glamorous side of this job. And you go to beautiful places around the world and you're seeing all these beautiful sights or beautiful things, and sometimes you just wish in your head, oh, I wish I had my mom or my boyfriend here with me so that I could have shared this incredible moment with them. And instead, you're just sharing it with some strange people that you met at work. Which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm just saying that sometimes you wish you had your loved ones with you. I'm actually really lucky that I at least got to go home once a month or at least once in 2 months because we had the layover flight to my country. But there are some of my colleagues or some of the cabin crew who do not have layovers to their country, so they don't get to see their families or friends for maybe 6 months or even sometimes once a year. And that's really tough for them. And on top of that, it became even more and more hard to keep in touch with your family and loved ones because the UAE brought a ban on video calls. I'm talking about video and audio calls, okay? Not texting, but just the calls. They don't work. WhatsApp, Viber, Facebook Messenger, Skype, none of those work in the UAE because of the call restriction. So yeah, it gets very lonely on this job and in Dubai compared to what a lot of people think as a glamorous and very popular lifestyle. Jet lag. Another very obvious issue that comes with this job, especially if you're flying to the very far corners of the world. To me, the problem is when I do US flights, I'm fine before the flight, I'm fine on the layover, but when I come back to Dubai, for the next 2 to 3 days, I just can't fall asleep till 4 or 5 in the morning. And I know for some crew, it's the other way around. To them, it's difficult if they go to the Australia and New Zealand side. And sometimes you come back from one destination and you're not yet recovered from the jet lag caused by that destination, and then you go to a complete new destination with a completely new time zone, and that messes up your body clock even more. Shift work. Shift work is also another thing that messes up your body clock. You wake up at 1 a.m. for a 5 a.m. flight. You try to go to bed at 3 p.m. for a midnight flight. It's just all over the place. There's no fixed routine in your life. Your body is forced to wake up and sleep in different times. Before COVID, at the peak of the company, we were doing 100 to 120 flying hours a month. And that is a lot of flying hours a month for a cabin crew. There are only a very few number of companies that does that many flying hours a month. If we compare with Sri Lankan Airlines, from what I heard, their maximum number of hours to do in a month is like 70 or 75 compared to 100 or 120. So that's a lot of difference in the amount of work. Our schedules got to a point where it's so tight that we were constantly tired and didn't have any energy to do anything, whether it's in Dubai or in the layovers.
You don't always have time to recover from one flight and you're already going on the next flight. And that can be very hard on your body. Which brings us to the next point, fatigue. Guys, I'm not talking about, oh my god, I'm so tired kind of thing. No, that's not what fatigue is. Fatigue is not when you're just tired. Fatigue is when your mind and body both start giving out because you just have absolutely no energy to do anything. There are times when you can't even remember your name or where you're at or what you're doing, and you can't do physical work. Your body is just numb and it just starts giving out.
まだ寝てていいのよ。
俺、どうなっちゃったんですか？
過労で倒れたの。
Your body simply can't keep up and you're not catching up on your rest. And all the buildup of lack of sleep and the extreme tiredness gets to a point where you experience fatigue. Before COVID came along, fatigue was a very big issue in this job. Yeah. Flatmate issues. Now, I've talked about this in my accommodation video as well. I was very lucky to have two very sweet girls as my flatmates. Of course, we had our little issues and our little problems and misunderstandings at times, but these girls were fantastic and we always managed to resolve them in a very mature way. But it always doesn't happen that way. I've heard nightmares upon nightmares of flatmate stories, and I've seen it happen to my very close friends where they had to deal with very horrible flatmates. It can really make your life miserable if you're not getting along with the person that you're living with. You don't get to choose the person that you're going to be living with, at least not initially. You can be put with anybody from anywhere around the world, from any culture or any religious background. And sometimes that can be very difficult if you don't understand or don't respect the other person. In our apartment, when I was working there, it was me, a Sri Lankan, and then a British girl and a Zimbabwean girl all living together. And for us, even though we were from 3 different continents, it worked out. If you don't have a peaceful environment to come back to, it's going to make your life very difficult. Try to solve the problems internally amongst yourselves without taking it to the level of getting the management involved with it. Easier said than done. Customer service can be difficult. It is no lie. Customer service is very difficult. Passengers can be very rude, demanding, and irrational. You will get blamed for things that are not your fault, and you will have to say sorry for things that are not your fault. And it's not like you can get away and avoid a person that you dislike. You're all in a metal tube, up in the air. You're all stuck together. So yeah, good luck with that. I've had customers that are so rude to me that I genuinely had to wonder
why these people think that they can treat another human being this way, or why do they think that they're better than everybody else. At those times, you just have to tell yourself that you're not there to teach that person a lesson in humanity, and just let it go. Customer service with a smile is really not an easy thing. Sometimes you might be going through some difficult times in your life, some problems, but you gotta come to work, plaster a smile on my face and go to work and talk to people and be nice to people, and then listen to people shouting at you because you ran out of chicken. This job can be very emotionally draining. No wonder a lot of cabin crew drink a lot. What? Who said that? Not me. Now, this is the bitter truth of working for the Middle Eastern Airlines. They can fire you as quick as they hired you, without a question. You know, you would like to think that the company holds you dear or holds you special, but you're actually not. You are very replaceable. Very replaceable. Your job is not a guaranteed thing. You can be fired for something that's extremely trivial, or you can be fired for something that's not even your fault. You can be replaced if needed. And that's the sad, bitter truth, guys. You can have one set of rules on one day and have a completely new set of rules from tomorrow on. And the thing is that there's nothing that you can really do about it. For example, they can change the retirement age, which is currently at 50, to 45. And when that day comes, there's nothing that you can really do about it but just pack up and leave. You could have given 10, 15 years to this company and then be told to go home the very next day. It's their decision and you don't really have any power to go against it. And I'm just simply laying out the truth to you guys. Your job as an Emirates cabin crew is not secure and it's not guaranteed. If you come to this job, try to build up a backup plan as well, so that in case something happens and you have to leave the job, you at least have something else that gives you an income. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about next is not a con, but simply giving you guys a reality check. This is not a con, it's just a reminder to all of you. The cabin crew's primary job is to ensure the safety and security of the passengers, the aircraft, and your fellow cabin crew members. You're not there to wear a pretty uniform and smile and look pretty like an Instagram model. No. A lot of you guys have this picture in your head that this job is all glamorous, you're shopping all over the world, you're taking beautiful pictures, like living a lavish lifestyle. And you tend to kind of forget that this also is a job, and a risky job at that. Don't be fooled by the beautiful Instagram pictures. You can't be looking all cute and adorable in an emergency. You have to be on it. You're trained for medical emergencies, security issues, and safety procedures. Please be aware that you will have to deal with emergencies. If you don't think you can deliver CPR to a passenger with a heart attack, if you don't think that you can fight a fire on board, if you don't think you can restrain an unruly passenger, if you don't think you can face turbulence, if you don't think you can face an emergency landing, then this job might not be for you. And if you can't handle the customer service side that this job requires you to do, again, you might have to reconsider. And I'm telling you guys these things because There are people who came to this job and then left in the training because they didn't think that they will have to deal with turbulence. There are people that came for this job, did their first operational flight, and then left because they didn't think that they have to clear out dirty trays. It has legitimately happened, guys. Guys, I'm just putting it all out there for you guys so that you don't have different expectations when you come into this job and see that it's different from what you pictured in your head. I'm not here to discourage anyone from applying to the cabin crew job. I'm not here to spoil anybody's dreams of becoming a Emirates cabin crew. I absolutely love this job, and if I can, I would do it again. But I want you guys to go into this job with a realistic viewpoint and having a realistic expectation of this job. Instead of going to this thinking it's all rainbows and ponies and roses, and then end up thinking, what the hell did I just sign up for? Just like any other job has both pros and cons, this job also has its own cons, its own disadvantages, its own hardships. This job also has a not so glamorous side. Just like any other job, you have to be realistic about this job because it can be very difficult. So guys, that's it for today. Just a bit of getting real about this job. So as always, if you guys have any other questions, please leave them in the comments down below and I will get back to you with answers. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you again in another episode of Aura in the Clouds. Am I too far away today? No. What is happening with the sunlight? Didn't get managed. What am I saying? 27, 28, 29, 30.